Yeah, I just had some floating questions. Hello? Is there anybody here to help me with some floating questions?
All right.
Hey.
Well, I think you can tell from that intro what this episode's going to be about. I'm Grashkahmn.
Oh boy. Now we messed it up again. I'm Grashkahmn.
Shoot. I'm Graham.
Yeah, and this is a podcast that we do occasionally.
Yeah, it's called the Occasional Solutions Podcast.
Yeah, really solutions I think is the main thing that's not really true anymore, you know?
And if you're smart, you'll occasionally subscribe to it. You know what I mean?
Well, just once, really. We just need you to subscribe
that's
that one
fine.
time.
Yeah. We got done with a big event recently that we didn't actually put on.
Little thing called...
Which is cool.
The Float Conference.
Bum, bum, bum. Sorry, wait, no, it's like a ominous kind of... no, it's not a...
Hoo-loo-loo-loo-loo. I think that's that trope.
Traditional traditional music for excitement. Yeah.
So there was just a float conference, the float conference, and
super cool.
It was in Denver,
Colorado,
not Oregon, and it was run by other people
who aren't us.
Yeah. So it was cool. We got to go and we got to attend the float conference for the first time. Basically.
I saw more talks this year than I think I've ever seen.
I slept more than I think every other conference combined.
I thought you were going to say that you've ever slept, and I was like, I don't know if that's physically possible.
Which still wasn't that much. There was a lot of late nights still, but it was great. I just had a really great time.
Yeah, me too. And I guess that's what we're here to say, you know.
Yeah, that's
it was awesome.
It. Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. Yeah, there's lots of good hugs, lots of good memories, lots of good speakers.
Yeah.
That was cool.
It was cool. It was fun being in a different city. We got to really explore Denver. It was super cool getting to party at Samana and check out that whole fun float party.
Samana's a great float center over in the Denver area, by the way.
I guess if you didn't come out to the float conference, we should catch you up or something.
We'll see you next year.
Yeah. First, you made a big mistake. We had a really good time. I guess the super, super quick get people up to speed if they have no idea what we're talking about here.
Just go to floatconference.com.
Well, it doesn't really explain much anymore, but yeah, float conference.
It doesn't explain much? Go on. What are you going to say? Just tell them.
It's just a blank website.
I'm sorry for interrupting you 3 times in a row right there. What were you going to say?
There's this event called the Float Conference.
Oh my God.
No, okay. Float Conference has been happening. This is the 8th year. For the first 7 years, we were the ones organizing it. Last year, we turned it into a nonprofit. So this was its first year running as an event that was organized by the float industry, by a board of directors and volunteers and anybody who wanted to help put it on. And it moved cities for the first time. It was kind of just like a rebirth of the Float Conference event. And so that's why we're so excited. We got to go. It was like seeing a float baby that we just had taking its first steps, you know.
And in the show notes too, we'll put on an episode we did previously about the float conference. We'll put on our talk from last year, which actually talks a lot about the history of the float conference, but with really fun graphics and slides. So if you don't just want to hear us describe what everyone was wearing, you should definitely go watch the talk. And that actually explains a lot of where we came from and this journey to actually being a nonprofit this year. So if we were kind of like breathing giant sighs of relief when we started this episode, that is exactly wise, because for 7 years we got to be the hosts, and now we get to be the closest
dudes.
Just some guys, man.
But yeah, actually, I had a really good time watching the presentations too. I felt like a lot of the speakers are just super solid, and there's just stuff happening in the float world in this cool way that is becoming bigger and more prevalent every year, you know. And it's not just now like the Laureate Institute for Brain Research putting out its new research. Like, we're also seeing other places do research. We're seeing large institutions like sports teams and military and stuff, like, not just talk about floating, but actively be using float tanks, like, in real world applications, like actually having their like student athletes float, or having the enrolled people like float as part of their, you know, training or whatever, recovery. And I mean, it was interesting to see that stuff really happening now. You know, it wasn't just like these rumors or we're going to start these programs soon. It was like, no, we've been doing this for the last year. Yeah. And it was also really interesting seeing so many of like the scientists and the people running these programs. Like, I feel like genuinely impressed with float tanks. Like they were giving these presentations there and they were just like, yeah, these are having like incredible effects, or the data we're getting out is like really not the type of data you see when you do this sort of research.
Yeah, it's really cool. And neat to see people who even have been, speakers before come back, people who are more tangentially involved in the industry, get kind of wrapped into it. Like it has this way of, I don't know, if you connect with floating and you connect with the float industry, it's almost like you've come home in a certain respect. So, I was thinking specifically of Roy Vore and getting to see his talk this year compared to last year, which will definitely put his talk in the from the previous year in the show notes. It's great for sanitation stuff. He's like the man when it comes to recreational waterborne illness.
Yeah.
And one of the coolest things he said, he started his talk, and it's pretty much like, something has changed from last year. Like, I float now, like this is something I do. And it's just, we got him, he's one of us now.
He actually applied to be on the board of directors for the float conference and got voted in.
Somehow weaseled his way in.
So now, he
promised enough people free drinks that he got in there.
But it's cool. I mean, now we have the leading recreational water illness expert in the country as part of the float conference board. It's cool.
Where will we go from here?
Yeah, who knows what we can tackle. So basically what I'm saying is all the food is definitely not going to get you sick next year. We'll be able to check it very thoroughly.
I don't even, we kind of started the episode, we're like, what do we even talk about for this one? I mean, it's really, we can go on about some cool stuff that happened, which we will, but maybe even differences is what I was going to say.
Oh, okay.
No, what were you going to... Where were you
well,
going?
If you did attend the Float Conference, then you know what we're talking about. But if you didn't attend the Float Conference, a couple things you can do to kind of see what's going on. There's a really cool podcast. We've been doing it
Good one,
every year. We're just how to catch up, how to get in the scene. So we did this Float Conference podcast for many years, and this year Matt from Modern Gravity up in Canada took it over and did an awesome job hosting it. So there's about interviews with a handful of the speakers, especially the new speakers from the Float Conference that are released, and those are really cool to listen to. They're 30, 40 minutes long. You get to actually just hear their backstories and where they're coming from. So that's all on the Float Conference website, and we can put that in the show notes. But it's all just floatconference.com. And the videos will be released hopefully soon. It always is a little bit of a challenge to get all the footage and get it edited and all that sort of stuff. Takes a lot of time, and
we also just secretly messing with people. So even when we have the videos, we just hold on to them for a few weeks and don't release them.
But that stuff will be coming, and if you want to actually know when videos are released, you can follow us on social media is usually where we announce it. So Facebook, typically our Facebook page or our Instagram. So you can follow either of those.
For you Russians out there.
Yeah, for you Russian guys. You can listen to our Instagram. And you'll get to see the talks one by one as we get them edited and put out. And there's some cool photos.
Yeah, they're very cool photos, which you can also see on our Facebook and Instagram. I think is probably the best place to check those out.
If you drink enough alcohol right now, you'll probably just feel like you were there. I mean, and what were you gonna say?
What I was gonna say, some of the things that we really enjoyed this year, and some differences between.
And then certain things we hated. Is that what you were going to talk about after that?
I was going to say people we hated.
Oh,
but
yeah, no, that's...
We can go with things. That's probably maybe a better decision, actually. Where's the alcohol? Some things stayed the same. Some things changed. I got to lead the bus tour again this year, which is a beer bus tour of different float centers around. Usually Portland, but this year Denver, which is really cool. And I realized hadn't quite hit me that it means that we're going to get to see all these new float centers in every new city that the conference goes in. And I guess we didn't kind of say this, but it's going to be changing cities every single year from here on out. Yeah. And I don't know, this year going on the bus tour, I just realized it's going to be so cool to actually get this different character of float centers wherever we travel in the future. And actually, for me, get to go. I hope if I get voted in from the board again to lead the bus tour, hopefully go on. I mean, I'll be an attendee regardless. So go on this tour of different local float centers and get to, I don't know. And then the owners come out to the conference too, and they just get to like be a little bit of the hosts as well. And I don't know. It's like we'd kind of like realized that as we were making this transition, and it didn't hit me until we were at the conference, just how cool it is to really get outside of Portland and to, just change the environment and take in that local flavor.
We also, I mean, it's really cool at the Flow Conference every year that you see people from like all over the world there, which is really fun. But also, there are people who are just run small centers or their center is, has a lot of services and float tanks is just a part of what they do. And like, I mean, it's kind of hard to justify flying across the country or whatever for that.
They have to go to their Magnosphere conference. They have to go to, their acupuncture conference.
Yeah, exactly. So it is cool being in different places and having people who, when it's like, oh, this year I think I can make it out because it's just like a 2-hour drive from my place, and that's like it's enough that it makes it possible for them. So as we move around, we'll just get to like see some new people that I think have had trouble justifying kind of being able to fly out to Portland each year, be able to happen to come when the conference is in their neighborhood.
And then that's it. Then we got them.
Then they're stuck.
And they're one of us. And the blob grows. Yeah. Did you have anything that you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, it was also just cool. I feel like
you can say it.
It was cool, I guess, just like watching the event be different. Like different decisions were made. I don't know. There's been this funny thing that Graham and I have had where for the last like all these years that we've been organizing the conference, like we've been trying to recognize that this was like an industry event and that we should even curtail some of our own opinions and thoughts in favor of trying to do things that felt
very difficult
a little bit more like representative, or you know what I mean? We were like sometimes actively trying to restrain ourselves from putting too much of like direction into what we thought it should be because it felt kind of bigger than just like us and our float center. But like we're really only so good at that. Like it's not like we can actually perfectly separate out what thoughts in our head or like our strong opinions.
No, I think everyone would have capes on the volunteers. That seems reasonable.
So, as much as that was like an effort that we made, like it was much better to just actually have different people making decisions who weren't us, Like the Float Conference just got to have other people's input and other like, people's tastes and thoughts and stuff incorporated into everything from what speakers were chosen to how the venues worked and the flow of the event, and all the little details just got to have, a different set of decision making than what we've usually done. And it was cool just to watch that sort of stuff be like new and fresh and ideas that I was like, yeah, this is a way better idea than what we thought of. So
they still put capes on the volunteers though, which is cool.
Well, some things are just good ideas.
No, agreed 100%. It's I feel like you're saying it's like the event kind of always belonged to the industry a little bit, and it's kind of nice seeing that the input reflect that as well.
Yeah, and now it really does, instead of it just fake kind of belonging to the industry,
blah, 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 blah. Sorry, we have a little post-conference high going on right now. Still riding that wave. Let's see. What else did I enjoy versus previous years / just had thought changed? Doing it in a hotel was interesting, just not being inside kind of the same type theater setup.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much I'd enjoy having standing room.
Yeah.
It was actually a really tiny one. Like I was like, oh, it's going to be a little lamer, and in a conference ballroom. But like it turns out you can just decorate conference ballrooms and the stage still looks super cool, and having float tanks around is awesome. And then, having like tables you could actually stand at in the back was kind of like clutch. I really liked it.
Yeah.
Wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, it was nice to be able to roll out of bed and just go down an elevator.
Yeah, having the conference just in your hotel, like, that
There's just
cool.
always a bar in the lobby, and that helped.
And then also a bar on the 27th floor. And then also a bar. Yeah.
So we had a good time. I mean...
Everybody
had a good time.
Almost everyone had a good time.
Except for that one guy.
Oh, boy. Let's not talk about him.
Yeah.
If you just go to floatconference.com, just go check it out. There's talks from every previous year up there. You'll have fun. It's a good afternoon.
And I guess the other thing that we should mention is that, this event really is just run by people who want to help put it together. I mean, we had like dozens of volunteers help for everything from photography to video work to graphic design to just helping run the event to helping with social media to the entire board of directors who's volunteering their time to have meetings to discuss speakers and cities and all that sort of stuff. Like the whole thing is just run by people who want to chip in and help out.
You didn't even realize it, but you're helping with next year's Float Conference.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, so you better get down here. So if you do want to actually like be a part of the event, you should. There's a mailing list. There's 2 mailing lists on our homepage of the website at floatconference.com.
See if you can guess which is the right one.
One is like if you just want general information to know when like the city's announced and stuff, and the other one is a mailing list you sign up for, and that's what we use when we need help. When stuff comes up, we send out a blast to people and say, hey, we're looking for help with these things, and then people email us back and say like, I'd like to help with that thing. And we say, wow, you're such a great human being.
Here's a medal, a trophy, and some casks. That we could
everybody's
really
going to
use
really like
for.
you.
Yeah, it's great.
And so you should do that,
Yeah, everyone will love you. I think we pretty much broke down the benefits. So. Yeah, I guess that's it. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. We'll talk to you occasionally in the future as well.
Yeah, there'll be another conference next year, so.
Yeah, pop on by.
Yeah, hop on over. Scoot on in.
As we always say, see you later.